backyard with like 2 levels. This is his house, it's 1 level, and
Yeah.
this is walking back.
Yes, I didn't. Well, that's nice. So, people have it.
Start the webinar. Oh,
Very nice. But she was like,
so folks, on Zoom, we don't have a quorum yet, so we're not starting the meeting yet.
So, how do you know one thing?
Another committee member, CB7, Jamie.
I text Gambino. On my comments. And I text Sammy. So I'm gonna try to ask the data.
I'm looking at something, if it's more than video report, I'm just.
Doing the farm line have done the whole coffee. And they dump trash or ice. I think people between these have the more warning. One would like to be one or two legal perspective. They came from this. That would be a time. No. Exactly, because there's an issue, right, you know, when I did finance. You know, it's me. Why voted that the.
Those are these kind of.
Before you got to go with. Seven. Eight people.
No.
Right.
Somehow, it was supposed to happen.
Right. No.
Our second applicant is here. Right, although, here's their confirmation.
10 minutes. And then we'll just. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole way of having to.
Well, that's what they've written down. No.
And the ones we got so far just being told us that's.
Right. I see something here, and I didn't even know was possible. So, this is on-site consumption. Yeah.
I imagine most people.
Having to change. So you can see.
Smoking sign.
Is there quorum, guys?
I'm saying for.
Not yet.
Oh, it's on the table.
Cool. He said, can't. Cool. Yes. And she was like,
Good evening.
My name is Cynthia Bill Shuffers, and I'm Chair of Safety. I want to today, fortunately, we do not have a forum. Open conversation today to talk about two applications received for an adult use. One located at 251 42nd Street and one located at 6123 Fifth Avenue. I believe we have 251 47th Street, so we'll speak to them. So want to acknowledge and thank the for joining us, as well as Deputy Inspector from the 72nd Precinct, Deputy Inspector Suarez, and Tina Ponce, who is the President of the Community Council for the 7-2. My chair, Jerry? So we're just going to start. We would like you to introduce yourself. You can come to the mic. I also want to say hi to the people who joined us on Zoom. Thank you.
Oh, may I,
Yes, please. Thank you. This is our first application. Bear with us. First one that we're hearing. So any questions, feel free to ask. Julio?
Should I call attendance anyhow, to establish that we don't have a quorum?
Okay, so we're going to call attendance. So before you speak, let's call. Thank you, Jackie.
So when I call your name, please acknowledge it. Folks on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself. I will acknowledge that I heard your voice. Let's start with Cynthia Felix.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Ramona Acevedo. Joan Body. Rubina Morales. Kim Fung. Patrick Gonzalez. Thank you. Zachary Jason. John Johnston. Thank you. Danielle Lai. Barbara Lee. Paul Mack. Roberto Martinez. Jamie Nelson. Thank you. Sam Sierra. Galina Storma.
Here.
Thank you. Galina, unfortunately, can't report. And Sherburne.
Present.
Thank you. Roll is called.
Thank you.
We do not report.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us, and thank you for everyone on the call. My name is Nathan Yanovich, and I am here with my partners from Papin, which I'll talk in a minute. And joining us also our attorney, Michael McLean. We are Papin. We have been a part of this for many years. And if I may just tell you a bit about myself, who I am, and who my partners are. I immigrated to this country in 1975. I am 59. 10 years old when I immigrated with my parents, my brother, and my sister. Grew up in Queens, with Staten Island, and we've been a part of this community for 22 years. 22 years ago is when really our lives started the Sunset Park area. I was a baker as a young man. Made bread, get up early in the morning, and get to work, knead the dough, power up the machines. Realized that at age 21, I had a baby. At age 22, I had our second child, and I was just broke. And I needed to make sense of what would these two babies. And I naturally got a job in sales. I didn't have the educational background. Moving here as a young man, our father said to us, "Go and help us pay the rent." So they were able to get the education. Nevertheless, we worked really hard and decided to get into sales. So we were many years ago, late 80s, got into the wireless industry when we first started in 1995. It was less than 1% of the population had cell phones at that time. I worked hard as a beaver salesman, just enough for kiosk. And I started right outside the World Trade Center in the city with a tiny little beaver store. That's where my life started. We got into cell phones. And the reason I'm saying it is because there's some similarities between the cell phone industry and the cannabis industry, and emerging industry really fast, very cash intensive. Back then, wireless wasn't so regulated. This is overly regulated, but there are similarities in how these businesses came into the market, although there are different skill sets. In 1995, we had one store. In 1999, this one-man show. We had dozens of stores in the city, over $300 million in sales. It was a hard work to get into it. It was fun, and we're still dabbling in the wireless industry. However, in 2020, we decided to sell most of our business, which was really consistent of a lot of retail stores. We have over 305 retail stores nationwide. What we did is we ran and operated T-Mobile corporate stores on their behalf. We also operated and ran Metro PCS stores, which are all a part of what you're seeing now. I'm sure you have some questions for us. And we had a thriving business. 20 years ago, Michael Ziegler, our CEO, joined me when I was lost. Spent so much money coming in, such a great business. I couldn't make sense of it, and I knew that I needed to be someone smart, strong, CFO that could get to the next level. What retail or technology, everything that went into it. And Michael came in and had finance department, and it's changed my life since Michael joined us. 7 years ago, this young lady, Gabrielle Estouche, joined us, pretty much right out of school. Gabby, about a month, Gabby was hired. I said, Michael, my controller said to me, "Wow, what a smart young girl, ethical, smart, kind, hardworking." And Gabby became our VP of affairs. And to understand the amount of work that we have, Gabby negotiated over 300 leases for us. It's a ton of work to negotiate. Terms with brokers, people. Not only did that, so much more after you sign. So Gabby had a small team of people who were our legal department. And Alejandro Benji, Alejandro is a young man that I also met about 5 years ago. Alejandro comes from the cannabis industry, has a ton of experience, worked for the smaller guys that first started, ended up being director of compliance for one of the largest smoking operators in New Jersey. And this is who we are. This is Puppet. This is our team. Would love to answer any questions that you have. Partners can answer some and tell you a little bit more about who we are. But we have been part of this community. This community has been in 22 years in the same location. We've seen an area change. And area change. Anyone on the street. Back then, today, it's developed. Restaurants, breweries, there are all sorts of businesses that have we've been through all that. Ourselves also invested. We purchased real estate. We redeveloped buildings. We developed apartments. I love the neighborhood. I'm a New Jersey resident. Brooklyn every day of my life, 28 years. I tried to Brooklyn. I spend more time in Sunset Park than I spend in New Jersey. But this is my home.
Thank you. I do have some questions regarding the location, so I'm gonna have Deputy Inspector of the Store just give us a little bit of some of the things that have been happening around that community and around that area that the community has spoken about, and then we can discuss other things.
Good, everyone can hear? Okay, with the first location we're referring to right now is 47th Street, right? Okay, so 47th, when I looked it up on the map, obviously I got the addresses. It looks like it's 47th Street between Second and Third Avenue. Okay, now that area is more up and coming, not that far from like Industry City area. Specifically when we focus on just that radius, maybe like a 2 or 3 block radius, we are seeing on our end, New York City Police Department end, definitely an increase of pedestrians, things going on in that area. They opened up recently an urban trampoline park, which I think is maybe half a block away. There's actually, like you mentioned, there's a brewery on the corner over there. A couple of restaurants and bars, convenience bars opened up right around the corner. A Blanco bar, which we're working on now, they actually have a rental space that's causing a few problems that they rent out on the weekends. So, not even looking at this, not looking at any stats over there right now, but there are concerns over there. Back there, and that's our second point, very desolate back there. So when you guys say a couple things I got, this is just in general, private security, as you mentioned in here.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about we start 7 days a week, you guys are open, right? What would be in hours for like 7 days a week? Or what would we want?
In fact, just go back a little bit.
Okay.
We in 2020, January 2020, we decided to we now have 2 dispensaries that are open. We have 2 dispensaries that are already in business. We've been through cycles of what it takes to open. What does security mean?
But that's Jersey, right?
Correct. Yes, because we have the experience. It's really important to know that we have right across the river, we've got 2 stores and different demographics. 1 story is in Brunswick. It is a town full of young people, jazz, music, restaurant. We're on George Street. To the right, to the left, there are restaurants. Across the street from us, there are bars. There are tons of educators around. So we've learned to have the experience of understanding how to handle the security, how to handle ID checks, what to do outside of the store. And people, and generally, people don't smoke right outside the store. We have not seen them. We've been open for 50 days now. We have not seen them. We have not experienced them. Typically, there are some statistics that show over 80% of people who purchase recently Jersey from home and others, some of the states, smoke at home. So that hasn't been an issue. Puffin is in a town, is a college town, and a very vibrant food traffic. And Indigo, which is Michael Ziegler, our CFO, he owns Indigo, and totally different. South Jersey, just 8 miles outside of Philly. That's all cars driving. 5,000 square foot, very large mega store. So we're understanding there as well. How do you handle that security? You handle the people that are coming. What's the process like? So we have that experience. Really, we've done it now twice.
But who is your security and what are the stores? What is going to be operation?
So the operations of the store, 6 days a week.
7 days a week. What concerns me is, so we take a lot of, the smoke shops. We just had one, about 58th and 4th, we took a smoke shop robbery. 2 kids walking by, all messed up. It's 3:30 in the morning because these stores are allowed to be open late. Walk right back, push the door in, jump over, take everything out of the cash register. Now we're spending time looking for these 2 individuals, in which it's very hard to locate a lot of our perpetrators that come in at nighttime because they're always messed up. So when you say security hours, what are we talking about, like looking at?
So the hours are typically from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 6 days a week, and Sundays much shorter, like 12 to 6. We don't, I don't even open for 4 o'clock in the morning. Or that we have the latest store should go until 10 p.m. to high security. Obviously, we have armed guards every single minute of the day. Armed, absolutely armed. We have both dispensaries.
So you hire, there's like a private security and then you hire through them, right?
So yeah, we hired the private security. Okay. They're in charge of making sure that they send us first the right people. We interview the people. So we interview the guards. They send us. We want to know who the guards are. And obviously, the questions are always, how do you de-escalate? We're not here looking for anyone to have a shootout. We're not looking for security guards that know how to de-escalate situations. That know how to talk to people. That understand the neighborhood we live in. We're very particular about it. If you get the wrong security guard, that doesn't. So we hire security guard companies, they have their security guards that are on, they have dispatchers, we make sure that when we open, there's a guard, when we close, there's a guard. So the security is always there.
So for example, if you do 10 to 10, like you said, you're saying that if there would be armed security there the entire 12 hours.
Absolutely. Before we get to work,
How
we're
many?
going to be closed, depending on the size of the store. A size of 2,000 square feet can have one armed guard and sometimes two. Depending, we are quick enough. We see that the foot traffic much more and much higher, the processing capability. You call security company and tell them we need a second guard or a third guard.
Will people be buzzed in? Will you have a buzzer system for people to walk in? So, or will it be like people just walk in?
Right now, we don't have a buzzer system. We have a guard that checks you. When you walk in, the armed guard checks your ID. Then you get rechecked a second time by our receptionist, and then you walk into the store. We can buzz them in. It's not that it's uncommon, but we typically don't. I think that you can see already the armed security guards and they're typically dressed up almost like police officers. It's a real deterrent for people to come.
Not being buzzed in is definitely a major concern. Like I said, here in Brooklyn, just in general, citywide in New York City, the smoke shop robberies, which is what I'm kind of comparing it to now, they happen all the time. And they just push in and they display a gun and then, or weapon or whatever, and take whatever they want in the store and they clean out the store. So if we're gonna have a situation like this where a Puffin store is gonna buzzing in here in New York City is gonna be extremely important.
They're required. Yeah, it's not a problem.
I mean, I can't say it's a requirement, but for safety reasons and for not cleaning out the entire store, it's definitely,
Be a good suggestion. That is a security measure. It might make people feel more at ease. So have that. Right, and I know that schools are going to. Their system as well. Safety. I have a question regarding application. Is it where the garage is now? It'll be where the car garage is. So is the lease, are they aware of it?
Pretty, in January. We purchased the property in January, he's there working, and I spoke to him and I told him that there could be a chance, that's what we bought the property. And we've been there a long time, so we have to take everything into consideration. What's gonna happen to him? We'll work it out. I get to those stages, when I get to those stages, I know to sit up, so.
Yeah, because I think he's been there 32 years.
God, very good guy. We know each other. I've been there with this, so he fixes all our cars.
Right.
So, yeah.
So when do you anticipate, what is the timeline opening? So you bought the property, obviously you have to renovate, you have to have security, you have to do all that. In your head, what is an estimated working backwards time of when you would open?
Very possibly the beginning of the year.
So you're
It
anticipating,
also depends on
you're aiming for January 2024.
if we, depending on the process of when we get the approval and how much time we have. So it takes longer than we want. It does. Business takes a lot. I always said you get into a stage of where you're like in the last system. And we've learned, well, that's what this business entails. It takes a long time. Those have the expectation to open as fast as you want to. And it's really not on us. We've opened over 300 retail stores. We know how to do them. We know how to negotiate leases. We know how to run them. We know how to staff them. We know how to train them. We know how to create a culture of people that they love working for us. I've always said, train them where they're so good that they go anywhere. They love us that they don't leave us. And they stay with us. We're good at it. Please, we can build stores really fast. It's a matter of how fast we can get started.
So my question. I know you were comparing here to, Ashtown. Like, over here is a little bit different,
We have
a lot different. But we were just talking earlier, right, about a lot of illegal gambling in this neighborhood. The CEO is absolutely right. People will come in, people go where it can. They will come into the neighborhood. The last robbery that people in this area and so on got killed, it was real home confidence as a group. If they want to take money, having security on 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. it is is okay, but you have to think about the employees, you have to think about the people that, come in early, you gotta think about the neighborhood, right? As people trying to do something, they're not gonna do when someone is in there, they're doing at nighttime. You know that neighborhood, hopping from one roof very easily.
I'll take you back a little bit to our T-Mobile store, you'll see some of that picture there. This was, that started on Flatbush Street Church. All over the shadow. I don't know what the other neighborhoods, in the very beginning of the people that we worked with, we were very heavy prepaid, non-banking areas that we would go to. Some were private areas. That's where they sent us go to meetings and they would sit with me and I would visit the area and we would say, oh, I open. And I realized very early on how that security was. We were around, we were vitalized, we had internal issues. We had to have a team of people that were loss prevention teams and took care of our business. Loss prevention team were ex-detectives, people who work for us and fly around the country to make sure they are stored on time, security is time, that employees are taken care of. And wireless, it was a top 10 years that every day something happened. Cell phones are huge for people's lives. They used to come in and take Apple iPhones, it was $1,000 each. So we're always preparing ourselves, always training our people on everything. Understanding if someone comes in, this is how you behave. You do nothing, you let them take whatever they want. Your life is way too important for us to do anything. That's the last. So we've been conditioned to these kind of conditions for a long time.
The only one concern, when we're talking about cell phones and talking about cannabis, is two very different things.
Yeah.
And when it's not even the area for this 251 42nd Street, as I was saying at the beginning, it's very desolate back there. Anyone here who is familiar with this area can vouch that it's very desolate back there, especially when the sun goes down. I'm gonna go into some of the index crimes in that area. This is the 4-block radius year to date. 7 robberies, just the 4 blocks, 8 felony assaults because there's bars back there. And sometimes the bars stay open late. People get intoxicated, and that's when my crime occurs. 3 burglaries, 9 grand larcenies, and just recently, as of a week ago, we took a reckless endangerment at 3 o'clock in the morning on 4, 5, and 2nd, with a shots fired in which a taxi cab that was waiting for someone to come out of the bars got struck in the back. Thankfully, no one was hurt. It was just a bullet hole through the taxi. But this is exactly in the area where you're planning to set up right there. So the concern is when we talk about cell phones and we're talking about cannabis, marijuana, smoke shops, those things are hot commodities right now. And I'm not concerned about older people. I'm concerned about the young group that's very much attracted to this vaping, this cannabis, that will do anything to get whatever they want from that store, including money, products, or even hurting employees. So it's just the area specifically, it's in my eyes, it's very desperate for a location like this. It's not, it's just out of the way instead of for like the public eye to see, which means if I'm saying that the person who's willing to commit a crime knows that right off the bat, that that's a good place where they should possibly hit. That's my concerns.
I agree, but we have the same concerns. And look, I want to say, I work here every day. I eat in the area. I know the area. Ourselves, we're worried about that location. We've never had a location that is that quiet. We just are used to opening stores and stores. Yeah, before that, in the areas where the businesses are. So it doesn't mean that we don't want to use the park. Maybe that's not the right. We're not sure ourselves that we are. All of the above, the employees and the people, yeah. But I think that the park is bigger than just that location.
Are there
No,
other,
but we are just focusing, we just right now on the locations.
Absolutely.
are there other locations that you're considering that you now are looking at? Because I also, when I first saw the address, I was like, well, that's kind of off the beaten path. Most retail places like to have traffic, because that's how they know it is. Nobody goes there unless you know someone there. So are there other locations that you're considering? And then I know my Chair Julio has a question and Sean has a question.
Absolutely. Whether we rent or whether we purchase, either option is open to us. Yeah, absolutely. There are locations. We want more than one store. But yeah, we are also concerned about the exact same thing that you are saying.
Because it's, we have questions about.
And I just want to add one more thing. There are many dispensaries. Starting, but we are looking at dispensaries. That's the first market that we're learning from. Our dispensaries are an area very awesome. And people do drive to them. Listen to this, more people go on week maps and they're sorting. Absolutely go on. Just to find out the zip code where people will drive 20 to 25 to certain dispensaries. So there are dispensaries in area like that. I am concerned. I am concerned about employees more than anything.
I do. Oh,
Go ahead, Jerry.
so again, I don't care about the other thing, about this.
Yeah.
No, when I'm comparing, I'm just giving you notes, but of course I care about this thing. I
Yeah.
understand.
So my concern is also is both parties. If someone coming around, they will take off, they don't care who's in there, they will take off. Go north, go west, go east, try to get as far as out of here as possible. Kids, no, you open from 10 to 10. Right, kid get out to about 2, 3, right? Get some.
Those are the hours where we have to have social security, we have people outside the line, and days. And then you go to the tenant, but it makes a big difference when they see on bars outside the store. Big guys standing there, they are.
Who's gonna be checking ID when you say checking ID?
Well, the security guards check the ID
A
and
lot of
then,
complaints that come in with our smoke shops or parents, concerned parents from schools who end up saying that child at school didn't go to school today and then they find out they just wanted a smoke shop and purchased whatever they want and now they're in the hospital because they took whatever products.
yeah,
There's a lot of complaints coming like that.
we don't do that. That people, I mean, and I don't think, there's a
I
know that if we are. Well, this is $4 just to get into a store, let alone use it because no one wants that kind of a liability. Nobody, any business I would do. I would look at that, but certainly the security is first. We have at least one, possibly those hours, 2 security guards, checking your ID, you go, get the ID, check the age.
21.
21,
Couple of comments and then question probably more here in terms of owned and invested properties, one of them being 251 for example. As mentioned earlier by the deputy inspector, it is a desolate area, it is very quiet. It is also, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, in the IBZ, industrial business, which we really try to preserve as much as possible as our working corridor. You mentioned folks getting to the location because it is far ways from our subway driving. As much as we value those who may have to drive because of whatever circumstances, I'm cautious about encouraging a business that will have to encourage folks to drive to the neighborhood, considering it is so close to the school across the street, up the block, the trampoline park, which is already causing considerable traffic issues. And I think I also want to, and this is more kind of like my own personal opinion, I'm very much for the value and spirit of the law, and I think we want to make sure that we are encouraging businesses in our neighborhood, which leads me to my question. The spirit of the marijuana legalization was to encourage business owners who have either previously been involved in the court system or those who are minority and women-owned business. So is the LLC owned by someone who meets that criteria?
we are minority owned. Certified, the state of New Jersey, but we're minority owned. Still, what minority?
Is a LLC owner someone who's previously been involved in the court system? is you mentioned, security being stationed in the facility. You talked a little bit about past experiences, but I think what this board and this, committee would like to know is specific to this location, what, like, is the person going to be stationed up front? Are they going to be, like, I think we'd like to know a little bit more specifics about
So
this.
if you don't mind, I'll listen from my partner, Alex, if he can kind of chime in, because Alex is in charge of most of the operation, especially the security part of it.
Well,
Hi.
my name is Alex Benjamin, I'm formerly, Director of Operations for Pump in New Jersey. Previously, I worked as Director of Compliance for one of the major MSOs in New Jersey. In my purview, security and compliance. Speaking to Julio.
Yes.
The first point of contact at any of our dispensaries is going to be security. We have a cloud-based system that we age and verify IDs that would weed out any fakes or any minors in the facility. Critical control areas in a dispensary would be not only surveilled, but constantly walked by security. They will run rounds around critical control areas. Any cannabis or cash that is on hand, petty, large sums of cash would be held in a DEA compliant cage, as well as in a safe. That includes surveillance as well as panic buttons at all our locations. That would inform, any law enforcement what is happening here.
Will any money be held overnight? I see it mentioned something about, who come and pick up the cash.
So we see 2 to 3 cash pickups a week, armored vehicles. So on site, max would be days.
Ask how much cash you anticipate having on site each day. It is a cash-based business.
So as far as cash on hand, petty cash for registers would be more than 5,000.
Per register or per day?
No, everything included, along with cash sales.
And drives you right now at your stores?
Yes.
Quick question, do you have any stores open up in New York City?
No.
This is all just Jersey.
This would all be
This would
Jersey.
be, you guys trying to open up your first stores here in New York City.
In New York.
I have a question, would you consider doing more often pickups?
Yes.
Because it is a cash only, and that's a big concern, especially considering the area.
Yes, we could do more cash. Which one of the companies that we work with, we can schedule them, 2, 3 weeks in advance. If we see an influx of cash, it's a simple phone call and maybe more cash pickups for that.
Sammy?
Jamie, yeah.
Jamie, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. If I may, what type of ID verification do you have? Charter based, and will you be, this is a follow-up, will you be taking NYC ID, or will you only be taking New York State or federally issued like identification?
So the system that we use is called TokenWork. It is a cloud-based ID verification system that would only work with IDs. We can do anything that is a real ID that would verify a person or passport ID. Both have capabilities to scan anything with a 1D.
You intend on accepting NYC IDs?
As long as it has a 1D or 2 barcode, I couldn't verify it. Anything that's outside those parameters are not.
What is federal ID only, or do you intend to accept the NYC ID as well?
It will be limited by regulation, state regulation.
I just have a point of information. NYC IDs are not real ID compliant. So I would, just wanted to clarify and confirm what I'm hearing is that you would only accept IDs that are either real ID compliant or comply with, state regulations or federal regulations.
Pretty much like DSA.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and just to clarify, it's not something that Puffin can set. It's by state Office of Cannabis regulations. So it is state driver's licenses, passports, console IDs, and armed forces. That's set by state regulation.
And I have, sorry, I have one more question. And, OMG, my question is now escaping me. Oh, regarding your current businesses in New Jersey, have they been in compliance with New Jersey, laws and regulations? Absolutely. Have there been any, I don't know the process, but have there been any like complaints, or, incidences that that have brought like the state regulators into the business?
The CRC has not given us any notice of violation for either locations.
And how long have you been at those locations? How long have you been at this?
Since August of this year for Puckett and Indigo, 3 days.
Okay.
I was maybe with Helen and I go back on how it plays into security operations.
So as far as my background in compliance, I'm pretty much the main liaison when it comes to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. Any violations or compliance concerns with flow moving in the previous life, and it seems to be a trend for public as well. So I'm pretty much in charge of making sure that we align with all state regulations. And in the past life, this included 41,000 square feet of canopy, C1, D2 lawn, full kitchen, 6.
John?
I have a question and then a comment. Where are you getting the cannabis from? How is it coming in the city?
So this would be through licensed entities that are allowed to wholesale cannabis.
What state is coming
New York.
here? And I have other questions for the state, but I'm not here. Any of the owners a resident or citizen of the state of New York?
Yes, absolutely.
Brooklyn, born
Okay.
and raised.
Me, as a parent and as a community board member, I have really deep concerns about this. This was a failed public policy by the state of New York. State of New York has no control over anything. We have illegal smoke shops, weed shops everywhere. I'm not against legalization. If people want to smoke, leave their pets. But at this point, only thing I smell everywhere in every park, every schoolyard is marijuana everywhere. It's out of control. I'm not against it, but as a member of the community, as a parent, I have great reservations for us to give even advisory approval over this when the state doesn't have control over its own public policy and failed public policy. And people who are paying taxes are not getting the license. And people who are unlicensed are setting up shop everywhere in the city. And it's really a real problem. I just think until the state gets its act together, we shouldn't be allowing this stuff, at least giving our allowance into the community. Because we don't need bad public policy. We have enough bad public policies in this city. We don't need more.
I have Tina.
I have a quick question. I know we're talking about when they're open 10 to 10, but what's gonna happen at night? Are you guys gonna have your own security? Because I know as I was introduced, I don't know if the president says the police from the council, and I work closely with the community and with the police department. At night, when no one's there, who's in control? Like, do you expect the police officers to constantly control over there, or you guys have, like, I know industry city has their own that try to do some patrolling at night. So what do you guys?
Each one of our facilities are, monitored by the cloud-based camera system. We have infrared cameras throughout the facility, full 360 view, 90 to 180 vantage points, glass break monitors, as well as motion sensors.
So do you guys plan on using any gates, or is just gonna be, we're gonna be able to see and observe? Because I tell you right now, seeing and observing from the outside at nighttime is gonna be a huge problem.
It will definitely be gated very strong. Yes, yeah, and of course,
Yeah.
Central Station alone.
Anything that you can see and observe commercial at nighttime,
No.
whether it's cannabis is even more popular, but anything is no good. Unless to be broken and everything will be taken.
So we know the points. of,
Yeah.
Security.
We'll make sure.
If I may, What would prevent you from setting up a buzzer system? I guess I don't see how this really can work.
Nothing.
But we have a buzzer system.
Yeah.
So the other question I have is there an intent to begin delivery service in the city? And if so, you know, when would you intend to start that? And then how would you intend to protect those folks that are gonna be working for you as well? Because again, this is a cash business and
I think that'd be, premature to say. I think our first, goal is to start retail here in New York.
do you anticipate delivery service as well?
I was just.
It's unclear right now.
I was the delivery service of these products to the store, right? That's how they would get there.
Also delivery to consumers. I think that's what they do with that.
States
Oh,
started delivering, including Massachusetts, like all these other.
oh,
states.
like delivery from the store to the people who are purchasing.
And I know like medical dispensaries do deliver to your home, so I don't know what's the role for retail, if they would have helped. We said we're all learning this together, so.
And this makes sense.
Yeah,
So let me ask our question. Okay. So, but stuff being delivered to your store, transported to your store, right? I'm a little concerned, right, because that's also security. Thing, so that we observe, we follow, we people's home. How would you make the delivery, I mean, coming in? I mean, point two is, if you have cash, right, you can read, they people want cash things. And again, the ceilings up there, we very, very.
Yeah, but
Right.
there would be very secure safes, of course.
and he said they would be open to doing more pickups.
Or if we can either schedule more pickups for, a DEA compliant cage, it's covered.
Bolted into the
It's
ground.
bolted into
Bolted
the
into.
10 to 12 gauge.
They
yeah.
come in and they rip these things right out.
So, give you an example, they, right below us is that they go into our floor, nighttime, that will hold into our auditorium. When you come to the jewelry store, walk into the safe, they stay from, the back. So it doesn't matter what you have, if people want to get it, they want to get it. Again, I'm concerned about the people in the neighborhood, right? You know, that neighborhood, there's, I think there's problems. Residents,
Also, more shelter, issues.
yeah,
Well, I think it's on 52nd and second. You have conservative. Part of the homes as well.
So I will say at our locations right now, as far as the notification tree, if someone's in our facility after hours, within 60 seconds or up to 60 seconds after we close, there would be a notification to all of us. If no one responds to that notification, you hit the next notification, which is most likely vulnerable. So we're looking at a sub-2 situation where the entire team knows what is going on. We strengthen my mobile device.
Where do you guys live in, well, not saying personal, but does anyone live here in relation to where these stores are gonna be? Because I know you guys are all Jersey, but if something does happen.
I live in Flatbush.
Okay, yeah, and we have a corporate account. Literally on 454th Street, and we keep on starting on stage. So honestly, I know the people, I've been staying here a lot. So we keep that apart for us, the people who work for us, and there's always something present for us in the neighborhood. I also want to add that, and I don't want to bring New Jersey back into it. I understand what you're saying, but when we Jersey, which is soon, we're gonna know what the rules are. So we are ahead of New York and ahead of ourselves to know that some of these things that we're taking place, we're gonna do it in advance, waiting at least a year before it comes here. Already started in New Jersey, so we'll have the knowledge and the ability to launch it much easier than people who just never did it before.
John and then Hector.
I have two questions. One, are you gonna sell anything else other than cannabis? Because I see some of the legal folks are selling candy, soda.
No, I mean, everything that we sell is trackable, traceable, that tested. It is, I mean, what There's no odor mitigation, everything comes.
No
Sealed.
chocolate bars in there.
No, no,
No
no.
Coca-Cola can.
No,
I see the legal ones try to hide that. I'm trying to hide it in there. And the second question is teenager many years ago. It's very easy to beat a fake ID. Is the police going to have to do check on like bounces at the bar, state liquor authority, the cannabis management? Are they going to be doing checks to see if they're actually checking ID and is there any fake ID plan? Because every day in New York City, get a good ID.
No, you're 100% correct. Technically, since this is so new, we don't do checks at bars. We usually go to bars or go to these locations when we get complaints in. Technically, all that would be on store to be doing these checks and ensuring. That's why one of my concerns with a lot of parents coming in regards to purchasing things and then their kids end up at the hospital because they went to a smoke shop, and it happens all the time and just citywide, not just here in the 7-2.
And that's exactly why there's a benefit to have the legal smoke shops that won't sell these illicit drugs that are laced with all kinds of very dangerous drugs that can kill our kids. Absolutely. Yeah, that's very like a it's compliance. You live in what?
City of New York.
No. No.
I do appreciate your survey, really do, but a lot of the concerns just experience that things happen. People are teenagers, they could get fake IDs, they could go in there and, have that. And I know that you will have this system that will try to prevent it, for things to happen. So it's just best to be prepared. Say, let's be preventive instead of reactive. That's what we want to do. We want to have a preventive approach rather than a reactive approach, and be able to say, we had no incidents here, this is working well, this is happening, rather than say, well, they didn't do this even though we act, and that's profession. And Hector's been waiting patiently.
If I may, I have a question that you're talking about dispensaries, but what is it? What is a dispensary? I mean, what is that you want to provide? And also, are you going to advertise? Because I believe that that's going to create a lot of traffic in the area, and those are some of our concerns as well. So dispensary is a store that you can go to get your cannabis product in a safe environment, in an environment that can educate you. The people who work in dispensaries are knowledgeable. They ask questions. We require them to ask the question: what do you need it for? Is it medical? Is it for sleeping? Is it for focus? There's a lot of things behind it that you haven't experienced because maybe you haven't got to a dispensary. But from any of the smoke shop you will ever walk into. It's professionalism. It's people who are understanding and knowledge. We train on every product, every person, what they're selling. It's extremely important to us. When someone walks into a store, they don't walk out with the wrong product. We try to really understand what their needs are. And use a safe environment. And you're getting everything that you're buying is trackable, traceable. It tells you the exact amount of percentages, whether it's CBD or CBG or THC, understand what you're buying. It's extremely important. I'm angry at the smoke shops. I drive by them every day. I see it every day. And I see some of those guys, and it hurts me to see that we are spending so much time, so much work, so much money, so much goes into getting into this industry. And once you're in it, it's not over. Many people think that it's over before it's going. That is not the case, I assure you. It takes a while. We opened and hundreds of people came in. We opened our doors and it was 30 people the first day, 40 people the next day, 70 people the week. And we get an understanding of how to run those stores. It's not just, many people have a misconception that you open up a dispensary, you become rich overnight. It requires a ton of work, especially.
I have my last question. How do you expect people who drive in time?
Thank you for that.
I think the bartender gives too many drinks. They're legally responsible to control.
But as a bartender, they're drinking in front of them.
This is not a consumption.
Be able to consume here.
They can't consume.
Going to control them sitting outside.
So I can tell you just from the last 45 days or so that we've been open, we've had none of it, zero. People buy their product, it's sealed in a bag, and they take it home. I think people who buy legal cannabis are not people who are walking necessarily to the smoke shops. Those are people over 21.
So that was actually a question I wanted to throw in. What is your clientele? What is it geared to, like, who's been like coming into the groups that you had now?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because our concerns, obviously, we're bringing up a lot of concerns with teenagers, you know, so what does your clientele look like right now?
21, everyone else, over 21. It's actually mixed. You have business people, you have mothers who drop their kids in school, you have a lot of senior citizens who are coming in for help. They're coming in to understand that when you have a dispensary, the difference between what CBD does, it doesn't get you high, it really helps you with, all sorts of back pains that you may have, to THC. When you have that conversation with someone who walks in, they want it. We've got a lot of people who are my age and older than me. I'm 60, and people who are my age and we are walking, and they have all sorts of issues. And it's information. I have to, if you're well versed, if you are trained well, then you know what they need, and you can explain to someone the difference between the flower, the strains, and what works better for pain, and what works better if you do want to get high, or if you want to feel good, if you want to focus on your work. There are products that are very good THC. They have a lot more CBG and other that can help. It can help you, not necessarily you high.
So you did mention earlier that the security, you have to be able to de-escalate situations. So for example, if someone is outside and decides they're gonna crack open their weed right there and start smoking, is that something that they go out? I know you're gonna have a sign that says no smoking here, but I work in the city and we have signs that says no smoking in front of the school, and people still do it. I like no smoking in the park. So just as a situation, someone comes in, they buy, they're old, whatever, 30 years old, so it's a legit sale. They go right outside, stand out. It's a beautiful summer day, beautiful fall day like today. I'm gonna roll it up and I'm gonna smoke it right there. Does your security have the capacity, or will they be outside and say, sorry, can't smoke here, you have to keep it moving? This is not something that we're doing in front of the store.
To our last years. I remember the first couple of them opened, right, the news showing that hey, people bought this out there spoken already. Right, it will happen in New York City. It will happen.
So that's
Come back to the perfect. I would love to end this.
We took security very seriously from the beginning. Also from our past lives, that even though it was a different industry, the robberies and burglaries to us almost daily stores. We already have been exposed to those kind of things that happen. So we took it very seriously. When we interviewed security companies, it wasn't about whether you charge them $50 an hour or $4 an hour. It was about what kind of security. How do you manage your people? How do you choose your people? What's your turnover rate? And what kind of security guards are you? So our interview process for security was one of the hardest until we decided. It took us a while to find security company. And even with them, they know that we signed these are some out. So that's what the name backup is. Sure.
And I mean, with the understanding that we know it is legal to smoke right outside your door, you could do it. But we would hope that you would encourage them not to, especially because the playground is right up the block.
About the security.
Once I just mentioned.
For sure.
So,
Company.
it's called TSRG as well. And the other one, Gage.
Engage, and they New Jersey based in the office.
They are both New Jersey.
They work remote.
So, I think Gage does, but TSRG only New Jersey.
It's the highest.
Oh, yeah, it's already different companies, they don't have to be the same. They have, and that's why they're different companies, because we want companies that understand the demographics of where we are. Understand the lower incomes, hire people to the demographics, because if we're in South Jersey, we don't have to understand South Jersey. And we can't use the same company for Central Jersey, because they just don't understand it. So it's a separate company altogether.
Gotcha.
And I'm sorry, just one quick point on the lawyering issue, right? So two things I would just say on that. One, the company has a regulatory obligation to the state regulator, right? So they can lose their license if they don't actively police lawyering right outside of the retail facility. Two other things I would just say on that too, these facilities will have cameras that are facing. So ownership, staff, everyone else would have the ability to see, hey, look, there's people right outside of our facility smoking. And the last thing I would say is, every cannabis transaction ends with products being put in an exit bag, right? So it'd be relatively easy, one, to see somebody smoking, but two, to see a consumer walk out with their exit bag, pop open that exit bag and start consuming, right? So there's regulatory checks, there's practical checks, and camera function will also help aid.
Thank you.
Sure, my follow-up question would be first, security, you said it a couple times that there's gonna be armed security, and we do have playgrounds around the corner. And so is that a necessity? Is that something that can, is there a different way to set up security so that's not gonna happen? I mean, obviously, the last thing you want is more people running around with, you know, I don't want to say the right guns, but, and I realize theoretically it's a deterrent, but, you know, goodness forbid, there's robberies and shooting and what's actually gonna go down.
I've visited hundreds of over the course of this 5 years. Many have armed guards, many have that are not armed. I would sometimes look at and ask what. Also, the these chief of every these chief of the community, they met the interview us. We want to make sure we get the results. They have come to our store, they have walked our store before we open.
What do you have in Jersey? Are they armed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would suggest armed. Their recommendation is not because it doesn't look good for the neighborhood. We'll take the recommendation, but I think it's.
Well, what are your next steps? I assume, I know you have a whole plan. Police, so I'm assuming you will be setting up something to meet with them and their staff. With the school that's up the block perhaps. So what are your next steps? And in terms of looking at other locations, simply because that's in that area. That's the greatest concern, not necessarily that you're opening up a shop. Welcome a legal shop that's well run. In particular because of the issues that will put up an illegal shop, so to have someone who's following the regulatory and a safe thing, like John said, it's legal, etc. But it's reminiscent of the bootleg liquor shop, legit liquor store, and most places want the foot traffic. And just to give you some history, that block prior to COVID had a club that brought a lot of food and a lot of concern to the address right next door to now catering hall, which has had issues. But prior to that, it may just bring up some so pleasant memories from community members that especially lived around there. Of course, it's a thing. People are not going to be consuming it there, but in the club, people get drunk, get rowdy, go up the block, open till 3, 4 in the morning. But it's just something else to think about in terms of that block. People hear that block. And I saw the address, I said, is that such and such? And I don't know, it's next door. But it may bring that up. So something for you to consider, especially since you said there may be other locations that you're considering. Just something to keep in mind that that particular street has not the best relationship with the people.
2 years of being in the building, I've seen it all happen. I know that club very well. I used to be on my cameras in the middle of the night looking at what was happening there, all the different cars and people parking everywhere. It was ugly. It's a lot nicer now. And when I left, because I drove out of our driveway, I saw people sitting in the brewery having fun. It's changing. The brewery did change. And they complement each other. As far as what's our next steps, it's our first. So many steps. That we don't want to get answer. Except January or February. We're ready. It's the steps that we have to take. The next steps get approved. Once you're approved, then a build out starts. Once you're approved, then we decide the needs of application. But once we are approved, we can go into the next steps. There are many. This is one of the many steps we want to take this industry.
And we'll probably have more questions So open to having other meetings, maybe Zoom or just maybe come back to just talk to us about questions that they have.
I love what I do. I love working with people. I love people in general. When you need our help in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not a businessman who just said it. I mean what I say. I love the community. I love to give us a chance. This community gives us a chance to show you how different, what the answer really is. It's us. But then we owe back. We know that. Whatever community does, we need to go back, give back 3 times.
And I was just gonna ask our Zoom people if they have any questions or comments. We'll probably be wrapping it up in a few minutes.
Folks on Zoom, if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand.
You give it back to every business on that. But I don't see in the presentation, how are you giving back to you guys on the business? You do the stores, like maybe, yeah. Right, in neighborhood, this community does need help by a lot of stuff, playgrounds, rec centers, something. How are you giving back to the community?
I would ask to meet with community leaders to see what the community needs, and we do the same thing in New Jersey. We want to talk, so we build benches and we help build the park and we help to do things. So I would ask to meet with some community leaders to see what the needs are. That's the thing. Business owners.
And we hire locally.
Yeah, in our building right now, you've got 38 people working in it. Please. And in the past, we had many more, even more people. So you come to our building at any time, and lunch is being bought by a local. We buy lunch almost every day plus that. We buy locally.
Well, we do want to thank you for joining us tonight and giving us this overview. Jeremy will find out the next steps as well. We hope that you're able to meet with TMAT and the inspector to set up and meet the sector officers that do patrol that community so that they're able to give you more insight as well as let you know what are some of their concerns that they may have so that we are very preventive rather than reactive. I think that's the main thing that we want to be assured that we are going to work together to be preventive rather than have a sad situation where we come together for the wrong reason. We'd rather celebrate that this was successful work because we were able to do things like the buzzer system, something as simple as that. That's a thing that would be preventing having more pickups rather than 3 times more often because of the aesthetics that covers the details, what you have to find at night, the hours. And hiring a security company that's sensitive to the community, both culturally as well as know what is the vibe. Like Jamie said, there's a school up the street, there's a playground, Industry City is right there, Urban Air is literally 2 blocks away, so it is up and coming that side. It's normally been industrial, and now we're seeing more and more businesses over there. We want to make sure that everyone is safe.
I can speak for myself. I'm a father. I'm a father to 9 grandchildren. I would never, ever want to see a child in our store, a child taking any kind of drugs, getting hurt. Never. That's not what this is about. This is a challenge for me that I took on some years back. And I really wanted to do something different, not just another retail store. I wanted to take young people like Gabby and Alejandro with me so they can really get a break and build a business together with me. I am going to be 16 in some years and do want to retire. I'm leaving it to these young people to run this business when I'm ready to retire. We're really hard in retail for 3 decades of retail. I love it. Young people. People go to the next dispensary and work into the next store. Who's going to become the next? Who's going to become the next manager? Who's going to work in the store? And yeah, eventually we want to grow. We want to do so much more. So that means jobs. It means jobs. Like I know people that are local. They are walking team. What's better? They look out for us. They are the best employees we have. So my job is to make sure that this little bird makes Brooklyn proud, makes New York proud, makes New Jersey proud. Because there's not going to be many like us that are coming to the business and really their heart and soul into it. Many are coming purely for the money. It'll be silly of me to stand here and say, I'll do it. But there's so much more than that. So, thank you very much. I'm available anytime.
And to be transparent, we are going to, request, so it's 30 days, but we are requesting 60 days to have consideration. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we,
Something requesting office of cannabis management.
Correct.
Not necessarily on the applicant.
We
right,
understand.
now for you, just so that, you know, we're able to make a very informed decision.
I tell anyone who comes into, I get calls every day for people who are coming into the business because that's big questions. And I tell them just that the expectations are lower than you are. It's going to take longer than you think. We understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I give you something about you? Probably this new version.
Thank you. William,
What, there was a second,
applicant, have not, they're not.
And they did, we do have in writing that they confirmed they would be.
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and those, and that, just for the record, Deputy Inspector Storrs did have many concerns about 65th Street and Fifth Avenue, much more so than this location. So we'll keep that in mind when and if they show up, and we'll ask them, Inspector Storrs, to share his concerns with us officially. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Storrs, for your insight. Tina, thank you, and have a great night, everybody.